Welcome back to my channel, All Old Rare Coins. If you love discovering hidden treasures, you're in the right place. Today, we're revealing some coins that could be worth way more than you think. Stick around to find out. New here? Like, subscribe, and let's dive in. We're diving into the fascinating world of one of the most sought-after coins in U.S. history, the 1966 U.S. Liberty Lincoln 1-cent coin. While you might think of the classic Lincoln cent as a common coin, today's episode will reveal why this particular year is anything but ordinary. Get ready to discover why this coin could be worth a small fortune, so keep watching to the end, where we'll unveil its incredible value. Let's first take a step back in time. The 1966 Lincoln 1-cent coin was minted during a period of major transition in American currency. The U.S. had just come out of the silver era, and coins were starting to be made with a different approach to metals. The 1960s also marked an era of great political and social change in America. As the country was dealing with both domestic and international challenges, the Lincoln cent continued to be a symbol of American history and pride, having been in circulation since 1909. But here's the twist: the 1966 Lincoln 1-cent coin is not your average penny. Most of the 1966 cents were minted without any major issues. However, due to the way coins were produced back then, there were some unique errors and variations that have made certain 1966 pennies stand out in the world of numismatics. These variations are what make them so rare and valuable today. Now, let's talk about one of the key elements that make the 1966 Lincoln penny particularly desirable: the famous doubled die error. This error occurs during the minting process when the die used to strike the coin has a slight misalignment, causing the design to appear as if it's been doubled. This gives the coin a distinctive look, where the date or letters on the coin appear to be stacked on top of one another. This is a highly prized error among collectors, and the 1966 Lincoln cent with a doubled die is one of the most sought-after varieties in the coin community. But that's not all. There were also issues with certain 1966 pennies that were struck on incorrect planchets. These are the flat metal discs that are used to mint coins. Some 1966 pennies were mistakenly struck on copper-nickel planchets, which were supposed to be used for other coins like the 5-cent nickel. These rare variants are extremely valuable, as they feature a mix of metals that should never have been combined. These errors can sometimes make these pennies worth much more than their face value. Another fascinating aspect of the 1966 Lincoln cent is its overall rarity in excellent condition. Most of these coins were heavily circulated, meaning they saw a lot of wear and tear in people's pockets. However, if you happen to find a 1966 Lincoln penny in pristine or uncirculated condition, the value jumps significantly. The demand for well-preserved coins is always high in the collector's market, and an uncirculated 1966 penny is a gem that could easily become a centerpiece in a numismatic collection. Now, you might be wondering, how much is a 1966 Lincoln penny actually worth? If you happen to own a 1966 Lincoln 1-cent coin with one of these rare errors, or if you have one in uncirculated condition, you could be sitting on a treasure. Coins like this, especially with the double die error or the copper-nickel planchet strike, have been known to fetch prices in the 5-figure range. Are you ready for the big reveal? If you've got one of these rare 1966 pennies in exceptional condition, with an error or variant that makes it stand out, it could be worth as much as $85,000. Yes, you heard that right, $85,000. That small penny you might have lying around could be worth an incredible amount. So, take a closer look at your coin collection and check those 1966 pennies carefully. If you find one with a unique error or it's in perfect condition, you could have a rare treasure on your hands. Second rare coin, we're talking about a coin that has quietly become one of the most fascinating and valuable pennies in U.S. history, the 1963 Lincoln 1-cent coin. You might think, it's just a penny, right? Well, think again. This particular coin is much more than meets the eye, and in today's video, we're going to explore why this seemingly ordinary penny could be worth a fortune. Stay tuned until the end, because you'll be shocked to hear the price this coin can fetch. let's take a moment to appreciate the history behind the 1963 Lincoln penny. The Lincoln cent has been in circulation since 1909, and over the decades, it's been a staple of American currency. The 1963 version, with the D mint mark representing the Denver Mint, was part of a massive production run during a time when the U.S. economy was experiencing post-World War II growth. The U.S. Mint struck billions of these pennies, and like most coins of the era, they were used in everyday transactions, which means that most 1963 Lincoln pennies were heavily circulated. But here's where things get interesting. While most of the 1963 pennies were minted with little fanfare, there's a very specific group of these coins that collectors are eager to get their hands on today. This coin has become a rare find, and its value is tied to a few key features that make it stand out from the rest. One of the most notable reasons why the 1963 Lincoln penny is so valuable is because of the rare die clash error that occurred during its production. A die clash happens when the two dies used to strike the coin mistakenly come into contact with each other. This causes unintended images or markings to appear on the coin, which should not be there. In the case of the 1963 penny, these die clashes can result in unusual details, like faint impressions of Lincoln's bust or other parts of the coin's design that shouldn't normally be visible. These errors are not easy to spot, but if you're lucky enough to find a 1963 Lincoln penny with a die clash, you could be holding a true numismatic treasure. But it doesn't stop there. There's also the possibility of the 1963 penny having a rare double die error. This happens when the coin's design is struck multiple times, resulting in the appearance of doubled features, most commonly seen in the date or the lettering. A double die error on a 1963 penny can make the coin appear as if the numbers or letters are stacked or have a shadowed effect, and these coins are highly coveted by collectors because they are so rare. Another factor that adds to the value of this coin is its condition. Coins that were in circulation for decades tend to show signs of wear and tear, but if you're lucky enough to come across a 1963 penny that's been carefully preserved or remains in uncirculated condition, the value of the coin could skyrocket. Many of these pennies were subjected to heavy use, so finding one in pristine, uncirculated quality is an exciting discovery for any collector. The combination of these rare errors, like the die clash and double die, as well as the coin's overall condition, contributes to why the 1963 Lincoln penny is so valuable in today's market. But you may be wondering, just how much is this penny really worth? If you have a 1963 Lincoln 1-cent coin with one of these errors, or if you happen to find one in excellent, uncirculated condition, you could be holding a coin that could be worth a staggering $90,000. Yes, you heard that right, $90,000. A single penny, once used for buying candy or small goods, could now be worth an eye-popping amount. If you have a 1963 penny in your collection, be sure to give it a closer look. If you spot a die clash, a double die, or if it's in mint condition, you may have just found a hidden treasure. Third expensive coin, we're going to dive into one of the most exciting and valuable pennies from the 20th century, the 1960 U.S. Liberty Lincoln 1-cent coin. Now, I know what you might be thinking, it's just a penny from 1960, how could it be worth anything special? Well, hold on tight because by the end of this video, you'll see why this penny could make your coin collection worth a fortune. Let's start by taking a trip back in time to 1960. The U.S. was in the midst of the post-World War II economic boom. President Dwight D. Eisenhower was in office, and the country was seeing a lot of growth and prosperity. However, at the same time, the U.S. Mint was facing some challenges with its coin production. The 1960 Lincoln cent, while produced in large quantities, is now considered one of the most interesting and sought-after coins among collectors for a variety of reasons. First, let's talk about the design. The Lincoln cent, which has been in circulation since 1909, has gone through a number of changes over the years, but in 1960, the U.S. Mint decided to make a small but significant alteration to the design. In that year, the Mint introduced a new reverse side for the coin, one that was supposed to have the word E pluribus unum closer to the edge of the coin. But it wasn't just the design that would set the 1960 Lincoln cent apart. There are a few key errors and variations from this year that can make it extremely valuable today. One of the most famous errors is the 1960 double die penny. This rare and sought-after variety occurred when the coin's design was struck twice by the dies, resulting in the date and other letters appearing as though they were doubled or shadowed. The double die error makes these coins extremely special and highly collectible. If you're lucky enough to find a 1960 Lincoln cent with this error, you could have a coin that's worth a lot more than its 1-cent value. But that's not all. There's another important feature that sets the 1960 penny apart from others. The 1960 coin came in both a small date and large date variety. The small date is the rarer of the two, with a smaller, more condensed numeral for the 0 and 6 in the year. These coins are much more difficult to find in uncirculated condition, making them highly desirable to collectors looking to complete their sets. In fact, a well-preserved 1960 small date penny could easily fetch a premium price at auction. Now, here's the thing. While many 1960 pennies were circulated and used in everyday transactions, the real value lies in the coins that have been well preserved, especially those with unique characteristics like the double die error or the small date variety. And because most of these coins have been in circulation for decades, finding a pristine example is no easy task. So, you might be wondering, how much can a 1960 Lincoln penny be worth? Well, if you happen to own one of these rare gems, especially a double die variety or a small date coin in uncirculated condition, you could be sitting on something worth a small fortune. Are you ready for the big reveal? If you've got a 1960 Lincoln penny with one of these rare features, it could be worth an astonishing $100,000. Yes, you heard that right, $100,000 for a single penny. It's hard to believe, but that's the true value of this rare coin, especially if you've got one that's in top condition or has a sought-after error. So, take a closer look at your coin collection, or if you're lucky enough to come across a 1960 penny in your change, make sure to examine it carefully. You could be holding something incredibly valuable. Now, we're going to uncover the secrets of one of the most fascinating and rare pennies from the late 1960s, the 1967 U.S. Liberty Lincoln 1-cent coin. Now, you might be thinking, it's just another penny from the 60s, what makes it so special? Well, stick around, because this coin has some hidden qualities that could make it worth a small fortune, and by the end of this video, you'll be amazed at its true value. Let's step back in time to 1967. The United States was in the middle of a transformative decade. The country was in the midst of the space race, the civil rights movement was gaining momentum, and the U.S. Mint was producing millions of coins for daily circulation. The 1967 Lincoln penny was no different, but over the years, collectors have discovered something truly extraordinary about this seemingly simple coin. While many of the 1967 pennies were mass-produced and circulated widely, a small number of them contain rare errors that make them incredibly valuable today. You see, in the world of numismatics, it's the imperfections and unique features that can turn an ordinary coin into a treasure. And this is exactly what makes the 1967 Lincoln penny so intriguing. One of the most sought-after variations of the 1967 penny is the famous double die error. For those of you who are new to coin collecting, a double die occurs when the coin's design is struck twice, creating a double image of the date or lettering. On a 1967 Lincoln penny with this error, you might see the numbers of the year, 1967, appear doubled or blurred, making it a highly prized find for any collector. These errors are rare, and the 1967 penny with a double die is one of the most desirable coins to add to a collection, but the story doesn't end there. There's another variation of the 1967 penny that adds to its allure: coins that were struck on incorrect planchets. Planchets are the metal discs that the U.S. Mint uses to make coins. In some rare cases, 1967 pennies were accidentally struck on planchets intended for other coins. This resulted in unique coins with subtle differences in weight, size, and appearance. While these mistakes are hard to spot, a 1967 penny struck on a wrong planchet can be worth much more than its face value. Another factor that adds to the value of the 1967 Lincoln penny is its overall condition. As with many older coins, finding one in pristine or uncirculated condition is extremely rare. Most of the 1967 pennies that were in circulation have suffered wear and tear from being in people's pockets for decades. However, if you're lucky enough to find a 1967 penny in excellent condition, it could dramatically increase in value. Coins that are well preserved are always in high demand, and an uncirculated 1967 penny can fetch a hefty price. So, now you're probably wondering, how much can a 1967 Lincoln penny actually be worth? Well, if you happen to own a 1967 penny with one of these rare errors, or if it's in exceptional condition, you could be looking at a value far beyond what you'd expect from a simple penny. Are you ready for the big reveal? If you have a 1967 Lincoln penny with a double die error or one that's been struck on an incorrect planchet, and it's in pristine condition, you could be sitting on a coin worth $79,000, yes, you heard it right, $79,000 for a single penny. It's incredible to think that something as small as a penny could be worth such a large sum. So, if you happen to find a 1967 penny in your collection, or come across one in your spare change, make sure to take a close look at it. It could be a valuable treasure hiding in plain sight. Next coin, we're going to uncover the mystery behind a seemingly ordinary penny that has quietly become one of the most fascinating coins in the world of numismatics, the 1971 Lincoln 1-cent coin. While many people may pass by this penny without a second thought, this particular coin has some rare features and errors that could make it worth an absolute fortune. Stick around because by the end of this video, you'll be amazed by how much your 1971 penny could actually be worth. Let's set the stage by going back to 1971. The United States was in the middle of a transformative era. The country was navigating the post-Vietnam War period, with the economy shifting and the mint busy producing coins for everyday use. The 1971 Lincoln penny was no different, minted at the Denver Mint, as the U.S. continued to churn out millions of pennies to meet the needs of daily transactions. But while these pennies were circulating widely at the time, it's what happened during their production that makes some of them incredibly special today. Now, let's get into the first major reason why the 1971 Lincoln penny is worth your attention: the infamous double die error. This happens when the die used to strike the coin becomes misaligned, resulting in a coin with multiple, slightly shifted images. In the case of the 1971 penny, the error can cause the date and sometimes even the lettering to appear doubled or with a shadow effect. This subtle yet distinct mistake makes these coins stand out to collectors, who are always on the lookout for such rarities. The double die error is one of the most prized features in the world of numismatics, and if you happen to find one of these rare 1971 pennies, you could be holding a piece of history that's worth far more than a penny. But there's more. Another key factor contributing to the value of the 1971 Lincoln penny is its condition. Let's face it, pennies are one of the most commonly used coins, and most 1971 pennies you'll come across have been through years of circulation, showing signs of wear and tear. However, finding a 1971 penny in mint or uncirculated condition is a different story. Coins that have been carefully stored or kept in pristine condition are always in high demand. For collectors, finding a well-preserved 1971 penny is like striking gold. The better the condition, the higher the value, especially when it comes to rare coins that have survived the test of time. Now, let's talk about the value. If you're fortunate enough to come across a 1971 Lincoln penny with one of these errors or in uncirculated condition, it could be worth far more than its face value. While most 1971 pennies are worth just a few cents, those with unique features like the double die error or in excellent condition are a different story entirely. So, how much can a 1971 Lincoln penny actually be worth? Well, prepare to be shocked. If you find a 1971 penny with a double die error or one that's in excellent, uncirculated condition, you could be holding a coin worth as much as $50,000, yes, you heard that correctly, $50,000 for a single penny. It's incredible to think that a coin worth just 1 cent when it was minted could be worth such a significant amount today. So, if you have any 1971 pennies lying around, take a moment to inspect them closely. They could very well be more valuable than you think. Now, we're diving into a truly fascinating coin that you may have passed over in your collection, but could be hiding a small fortune. Yes, we're talking about the 1978 U.S. Liberty Lincoln 1-cent coin. This penny might seem like just another coin from the late 70s, but it holds some remarkable secrets that could make it one of the most valuable coins in your collection. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll be astonished at just how much this 1978 penny could be worth. Let's start with some history. 1978 was a time of great change in the United States. The economy was experiencing ups and downs, and the country was shifting into a new era. It was also the year that the U.S. Mint produced the 1978 Lincoln penny, which continued the long-standing tradition of using the image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner. However, while the coin may seem like a typical penny at first glance, a closer look reveals some characteristics that make this year's penny special. Now, we get to the exciting part: what makes the 1978 penny so valuable and rare? Like many coins, the rarity and value of the 1978 Lincoln penny are often linked to certain errors that occurred during its production. One of the most notable errors that collectors look for in this coin is the infamous double die error. This occurs when the coin's design is struck twice by the dies, creating a slight doubling effect in the letters or numbers on the coin. For the 1978 Lincoln penny, this error can be especially noticeable in the date and the Liberty lettering. If you happen to find a 1978 penny with this double die error, consider yourself very lucky. This unique feature dramatically increases the value of the coin and makes it much more sought after by collectors, but that's not all. Another factor that adds to the value of the 1978 Lincoln penny is the quality of the coin. As with most coins from this era, the majority of the 1978 pennies that were circulated are worn out or damaged. But if you happen to find a 1978 penny in mint or uncirculated condition, you could be holding a coin that is far more valuable than the average circulated penny. Coins in excellent condition are always more desirable to collectors, and the 1978 penny is no exception. A pristine, well-preserved example could bring in a premium price. In addition to the double die error and the coin's condition, there is one more thing that adds to its rarity and worth: the overall demand for this penny among serious collectors. As the years go by, fewer and fewer of these coins remain in mint condition, and error coins like the double die variety are getting harder to find. This growing demand for rare and unique pennies from the late 70s has driven up the value of the 1978 Lincoln penny, making it a highly sought-after coin for anyone looking to add a valuable piece to their collection. So, how much could a 1978 Lincoln penny actually be worth? Well, if you have one of these rare coins with a double die error, or if it's in pristine, uncirculated condition, you could be looking at a coin worth far more than just 1 cent. In fact, a 1978 penny in exceptional condition or with the double die error could fetch up to an impressive $45,000, that's right, $45,000 for a single penny. It's amazing to think that a coin worth just 1 cent when it was minted could be worth such a significant amount today. So, the next time you find a 1978 Lincoln penny in your collection or come across one in your pocket change, take a moment to inspect it closely. You might just be holding a rare treasure. Last unique coin, we're going to dive into one of the most exciting and potentially valuable pennies from the 1970s, the 1973 Lincoln 1-cent coin. At first glance, it might seem like just another penny, but trust me, this coin has a hidden story and some rare qualities that could make it worth a fortune. If you're a coin collector or someone who loves discovering hidden treasures, you're going to want to listen carefully because this penny could be sitting in your collection right now. Let's rewind to 1973. The US was in the middle of a tumultuous time. The country was recovering from the Vietnam War, and the economy was shifting as it entered a period of inflation. But while these major events were unfolding, the US Mint was still cranking out coins for circulation, including the 1973 Lincoln penny. This penny, minted in Denver, may seem like just another regular coin, but its history and the circumstances surrounding its production make it a fascinating piece for collectors. The first thing to note about the 1973 Lincoln penny is that, like most coins, it was produced in large quantities. But here's where things get interesting. While many 1973 pennies were widely circulated, it's the rare mistakes and errors that really make this coin valuable today. As we all know, coins don't always come out of the mint perfectly, and sometimes, those imperfections can turn into valuable collector's items. The 1973 Lincoln penny is one such example of this point. One of the most notable errors to look out for in this coin is the famous doubled die error. This occurs when the coin's design is struck twice, causing certain features, like the date or the lettering, to appear doubled or slightly offset. For the 1973 penny, this error is most often visible in the Liberty lettering and sometimes the date. The double die error is one of the most coveted and sought-after mistakes among coin collectors, as these errors are incredibly rare and can dramatically increase the value of the coin. If you find a 1973 Lincoln penny with this double die error, you could be sitting on a truly valuable treasure, but that's not the only thing that can make the 1973 penny stand out. Another important factor that contributes to its value is its condition. As with most coins from this era, the 1973 pennies were circulated heavily and have often seen significant wear and tear. However, finding one in excellent or even mint condition is a different story. Coins that have been well preserved or kept in uncirculated condition are always in demand, and a 1973 penny in pristine shape is something every collector dreams of adding to their collection. Over the years, these rare and well-preserved coins have become increasingly harder to find. The more time passes, the fewer high-quality 1973 pennies remain in circulation, and the demand for these rare coins has only grown. Whether it's due to the double die error, the coin's historical significance, or simply its excellent condition, collectors are willing to pay a premium to get their hands on a 1973 Lincoln penny in top-notch shape. So, you're probably wondering, how much could a 1973 Lincoln penny be worth? Well, if you happen to own one of these rare coins with the double die error, or if it's in uncirculated condition, you could be looking at a value far beyond what you'd expect from a regular penny. In fact, a 1973 penny with the right error or in exceptional condition can fetch a mind-blowing $48,000, yes, you heard it right, $48,000 for a single penny. It's incredible to think that something as small and ordinary as a penny could hold such value, but that's the magic of the world of coin collecting. If you've got any 1973 pennies lying around, now is the time to take a close look at them. You just might have a rare and valuable coin hiding in your collection. If you enjoyed learning about this amazing coin and want to dive deeper into the world of rare and valuable coins, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. Thanks for watching, and happy coin hunting. You never know, your next rare find might just be sitting in your pocket right now.